Welcome to part 10 of the Roaring Twenties. Now we're going to talk about American eugenics. When we look at eugenics, we have to dispel some perceptions we automatically come up with. Typically when we think eugenics, the first thing we're going to think about is Nazism, right? Eugenics defined, in case you're wondering what it means, eugenics defined is simply this. It is the study or the belief in the possibility of improving the qualities of the human species or human population, especially by such means as discouraging reproduction by persons having genetic defects or presumed to have inheritable undesirable traits. That's a dictionary definition for it. That fits right into the ideas of Nazism, and so a lot of people initially tend to think that way, right? And did the Nazis have a eugenics program? Well, yes, they did. They had one called the T4 program, right? It was named after the street address, Tiergartenstrasse, right, in which the program was started, right? Zoo Street number 4. This was a euthanasia program for those seen to have mental defects. Children with mental defects were brought to Tiergartenstrasse 4, right? They were brought there where they were put into a room like what you see in the picture with that shower head, but that shower head, of course, does not produce water. It produces carbon dioxide. You pump, or carbon monoxide rather, it's exhaust, right? You pump it full of carbon monoxide and the person inside the room dies, okay? Now, when the T4 program was expanded to include adults who were also seen as mentally unfit, even the German people balked at that, said, wait a minute, this is a little bit too far. This is a little bit scary. The Nazis' response to that was, yeah, no, you're right. We're going to back off from this. We're going to cancel the program. And they kind of did. What they did was they replaced it. They canceled the T4 program and replaced it with the 14F13 program, the 14F13 program, which is the exact same program, only now it's secret, it's not public like the T4 program, and it's in the concentration camps. Now, it's from there that we see the steps of progression that eventually becomes the Holocaust, right? But we need to realize that the eugenics program is also going to be alive and well, and actually is going to reach higher heights first in the United States. Eugenics could be a very popular thing in any of these industrializing nations, right? You got a lot of things working together. Before the Industrial Revolution, there were people who had mental handicaps, that were feeble-minded, to use the terminology of that day, right? They existed prior to urbanization and industrialization, but because America was more rural, you didn't think about it, you know? Uncle Bob has a mental condition that occasionally causes him to rip off all his clothes and go running up and down the corn stalks singing Irish dirges at the top of his lungs, right? But you're in the middle of nowhere, right? You're in the middle of a cornfield and a large farm. Who really got hurt from that? The crows, right? That's about it. Now let's fast forward. You live in an urban setting. You live in one of those tenement houses in New York City. Uncle Bob has one of his fits. Off comes the clothes, up and down the stairwells of a tenement house. British pub songs this time, right? Still, nobody's really gotten hurt, but everybody's taken notice. Whereas before, your nearest neighbor was a mile away. Now, everybody sees it, and people, when they start to see it, say, hey, we need to do something about this. And in the age of progressivism, it was believed, well, that's what science is for. They come to the conclusion that through scientific management, we can do something about this. We can take care of this, right? We can study what causes them to become feeble-minded, and then we can discourage reproduction of those that have undesirable traits. There's a lot of terminology here that's really a little bit frightening when you think about it. Undesirable traits. What does that mean? unfit. What does that mean, right? I mean, some of you right now, especially with us all being sequestered at home, are becoming more and more unfit. I don't think that they're going to come knocking on our door with a forced sterilization program, though. You're even going to have organizations created to study this, like the Eugenics Record Office. The Eugenics Records Office was created in 1910 in Cold Springs Harbor, New York, by Charles B. Davenport and Harry H. Laughlin. These two men were members of the American Breeders Association. In other words, they were involved with horse breeding. And what they saw here was an opportunity. Well, if this works for horse breeding, we breed certain horses in order to get the most desirable traits for what we want the horse to do, run faster, pull more, whatever it is, stronger, faster, whatever you want it to be. Why aren't we doing this with the human race? And so the Eugenics Records Office is going to begin collecting data, sending out questionnaires, interviewing circus performers. They were always really interested in circus performers, specifically the freak show, right? What makes this person, have these traits, okay? And collecting all this data on them. It's going to be partially funded by Andrew Carnegie. The Carnegie Institute will help fund this, the Eugenics Record Office. And for the next 34 years rather, you're going to have the Eugenics Record Office collecting data on these people. The data collected by the Eugenics Record Office is going to be used as the foundation for many of the eugenics laws that will be put on the books in the United States.